Hello there. I've got two wonderful, just show my finger. I've got two wonderful box openings yet to come. But first, I just need to do a little prelude because one of the box openings is for a Fujifilm camera. But I'm going to show you a Fujifilm camera that I had in the past. This marvellous little thing served me for about 5 years, I think it was. This is the Finepix A205 from Fujifilm. It was released in the early 2000s. I haven't done my deep research at the moment because I just want to show this on a whim. Oh, you couldn't see my hand there. I want to show it on a whim. There we go. So if you look at the front, Finepix A205 digital camera. If you know your digital camera magic numbers, we've got 0.3 megapixel, 1.3 megapixel and 2.1 megapixel. So it's rather strange that, if you could just barely see it, 2 megapixel camera. It's a 2 megapixel camera. Don't ask why. Okay, so just go over the basics of this. The power button is there, you flick it and it goes. We have 3 options. Usually on a compact, this is where the zoom part is, but we've got camera mode, movie mode, and playback. Okay. On the side is a bit for where the little strappy bit goes. On the other side, we have our ports. Not very good lighting at the moment, I'm very sorry, but the ports in question are composite audio video. There's no audio. There's what's that one? That is the USB, which uses a proprietary USB plug. Your normal USB, as you would imagine. But the other side, if we can actually get close in on that, is not a mini or micro USB, but it's actually one that has contacts on both sides, and it's a bit of a weird shape. And the other one is something you don't tend to get on cameras anymore, and that's a DC jack. So if you've got a 3-volt power supply, you can connect it to the mains. On the back side, if you can see, we've got a nice little radial scratch because I tried to force it on a tripod instead of actually pulling the little pin down and then screwing it in place and then locking it on. I didn't know how to use a tripod. Sorry. So there's the little screw for putting your tripod on. The battery cover pulls out and opens up, and it uses 2 AA batteries, and it uses an XD card. What's an XD card, you might ask? Where did I put my XD card? This is an XD card. It's a bit like an SD card, except it's now obsolete. This was so Fuji and Olympus could have a monopoly on memory cards, but because it was based on old technology and refused to innovate, meant that it was, well, as of 2010, they no longer exist. Well, actually, they're still being produced, apparently. They're still being produced. On the back, you have a generous screen. It's so big. We've got a back button, a menu OK button. We have left and right, and then up and down, which is actually your zoom. So you want to turn it on. We can see this in action. There we go. Wow, this is the future. And then we pull that out. So you might want to know why this camera is so thick. I mean, compact cameras are about 1/3 of the size, 1/3 of the thickness. Now the reason why is because it has to contain this marvellous lens. There is only one element to the lens, unlike cameras nowadays which have multiple elements, and so you can get different zooms. This one has a 4x optical zoom. Actually, I think it's 3. Sorry about that. A 3x optical zoom. Wow. But it's still got a long tube that it has to contain in there. I bet you the rest of it is actually just empty space. On the front we have flash. We have an optical viewfinder, which I don't know whether you might be able to, I might give you an opportunity to actually peek through the optical viewfinder. Yep, we've got a little circle in there that tells you was it halfway horizontally, 2/3 up vertically. Yep, so that's meant to be where you position people's heads in a portrait. Yeah. So what was the last thing? Oh yeah, there's a display button. You have your optical viewfinder, and you can tell that this camera is just a wee bit primitive because we have a autofocus light. As you do, we have an autofocus light, but we also have an autofocus light receiver, not an all-in-one like you would nowadays. Anyway, that's the camera. Let's go over the functions through an outside broadcast with Crispy. Okay then, so let's see how this camera fares. So I've got it connected up to the composite port on my TV, so let's have a look. Let's turn it on. And here's your first problem. If you put the composite plug all the way in, then you get something like this. So what you have to do is that you just have to wiggle it out a little bit, and hopefully there we go. Oh no, yep. Yes, I think that's sorted out now. Oh, hang on. No, it's still a little bit dodgy. So, as you can see, a little bit of trial and error. Very important. Having to gently eke it out. Into which, by the time you've managed to figure it out, it's decided to do the auto shut off. Okay, so there we go. Excuse me. What we're going to do is that we're going to open the cover. Sorry. Give it a moment, and there we are. Welcome to my room, and here I am with a teeny tiny little microphone. Strangely enough, I have a larger microphone, but it sounds horribly tinny. Anyway, so this is the room, this is what it all looks like, and if you excuse me, I'm just going to go backwards, and we're going to go over the features of the camera. So we've got, I've run out of battery, right? Jump cut. Just to intervene a little moment. Yes, as you just saw, whenever it's being idle, it puts the lens back in. But there's just a little problem that this camera has. Oh, okay. There's just a little problem that this camera has, which is if the batteries die, it doesn't have enough power. It doesn't have any reserve power to actually put the lens back in. And so, I'm doing this far too high, I'm sorry. It doesn't have enough power in the reserve tank to actually put the lens back inside so that you can put the lens cover back on. You can't push it back in. And anyway, if you did, that's a bad thing to do. So, sorry about that. Let's return. Oh, for heaven's sake. Yeah, so you can see that it's a bit of a problem the way it goes. I think it's on NTSC mode at the moment, and I can't be bothered to change it, so just bear with me, okay? Just bear with me. Okay. So, no, I can't do this. Right, okay, so let's go through the menu in turn. So the first one is your quality. So you can 2 megapixel, 1 megapixel, or email size, which is 330 kilopixel. On the right, you've got a self timer, and that's on and off. You've got manual or automatic shooting mode. I'll show you that in a moment. You've got the setup and the LCD. So let's just go back to... So what's manual mode, I wonder? Well, let's find out. Manual mode is 2 extra options: white balance and exposure compensation. Haha. Okay, so let's just go back. There's a display button at the top. So what that does is that it gives you a grid for rule of thirds and then turns off the screen so that you can use the optical viewfinder and save battery power. Tee-hee-hee. And we'll just turn you back on. Okay, so what's in the setup? Let's have a look at the setup. Oh, what's going on? Oh, I know what I've done. Right, that was the brightness for the LCD. Sorry, yep, slip of the finger. Image display. Power save. Do you want to format the card? You can have low beep or high beep. Low beep. Or you can turn it off. Date and time, you can set that. You can turn the LCD screen on and off. Frame number, so it's continuous or renew. If you know your digital photography, you'll know what that means. USB mode, treat it as if it's a card reader, or treat it as if it's a piece. Treat it as if it's a camera, and then your PC has to have special camera software. Yeah. Your languages, all the major European ones and Japanese. Your video system is NTSC, so let's turn that back to PAL and let's get a decent picture. Hello, welcome back. Woohoo! Okay, so now, okay, just so you can have a look at the colours. There are the colours, very pretty, they are colours. Come on. Let's just, okay, so we've gone through video system PAL or NTSC. Discharge the batteries. This is important because you're using AA's, and if you're using rechargeable AA's, you have to discharge them before you recharge them, otherwise you get the memory effect. Or you can just reset the whole thing. Okay, other than that, we have a movie mode. You have two options. You've got 320 by 240 and 160 by 120. And then the last option is the image viewer. So there's a nice photo of my foot. And you have to use left and right to get through these. Okay, so there's a photo in London. As you can see, half the time I couldn't be bothered to actually put the time and date on because it's just such a faff. And every time you take the batteries out, you have to reset the time. This is annoying. Okay, so the camera does reasonably well with shots. Yeah, that's me, a cosplay event many times ago. Look at the girl. She's so excited to be with me. Woohoo. As you can see, this is from May 2010. Right, if you can look close up, you'll find out that this camera has a major issue with red eye. Oh, for goodness sake. But the flash does its job. And anything else? Yeah, there's Una and other stuff. And as you can see, it doesn't bother flipping the orientation. I don't think there is a way of figuring out what the orientation is in this camera. And there's a very nice one to finish off my review of the images. So there is a menu. What does the menu do? You can erase all frames, frame and back. You can the DPOF, yep. If you know your digital photography, you'll know what that means. Protect, so protect them from being deleted. You've got your setup, which is the same as before, and you've got a slideshow. You can have a slideshow. So I'll just press enter. We'll go through that, and then it will do a skitty little thing like that. And then the next one, yeah, very nice. And how do I turn that off? Yeah, I go back. And then, right, so what does it look like when I am deleting stuff? Right, let's go delete that. We have to go menu, we have to go delete frame, and then we have to go erase OK. And that's what it looks like. where are my manners? I totally forgot about this. Show the camera's performance. So we zoom in, wrong way, we zoom in, that's what it looks like, but it stops for a moment, whereas you push the zoom in button again and you get the digital zoom, and then you get to zoom out, and then the optical zoom takes over again. Digital zoom is only available on 1 megapixel and 330 kilopixel mode, but I don't think you particularly care about that. This has a 4 times optical zoom, and there it is, autofocusing. It doesn't do any focus tracking or anything like that. There's not a lot more I can say, but there we go. We'll just zoom in again. Zoom in, sorry. We'll focus again and press go. Okay, so it used the flash in that option. There is a... oh, sorry, wait for that. There is a macro option, but its focusing limits are pretty poor. And we have a flash mode. Red eye mode, ha ha ha. Forced flash on, forced flash off, of which usually when I got forced flash off, it has a little hand wavy sign on the side telling you, oh no, there's not enough light. No, seems to be okay, it's not complaining. We'll take a shot there, and there you go. And that's that. Apart from that, you've got the that's the strobe flash, and then you've got slow red eye flash thing, and then an automatic flash. So we'll just leave it there, and that's that. Ta very much. See you later.